Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe's Classic Video Games, back with another cool arcade game repair video for you this evening. Today, we're going to work on another Asteroids Deluxe. One of our viewers dropped this off. He saw the other Asteroids Deluxe video we did, and he's got a project one he wants us to try to piece back together. So he bought this as an empty cat. Well, it had a board and a monitor, but we don't know anything about them. There's the monitor. There's the artwork that goes around the monitor. And the guy he got it from claimed that he shipped this board off to get repaired, and it should be good to go. We'll see about that. You know, we'll see. Maybe the board's ready to go. But the main problem he had was the monitor, of course, and the cabinet when he bought it was missing the mirror. And that's a big part of the game. So I'm hoping that's the right type of mirror. He claims that it is. He had to pay a lot of money for that mirror. Take a guess at what that mirror costs to make. Leave it down in the comments how much you think he paid for that mirror from a glass shop. Remember, it's like it's kind of a see-through mirror type deal, because you're supposed to be able to see all that through it. So we'll see. I don't have the brackets to mount that, but I'm thinking I can just use like some regular mirror brackets, kind of like we do with these we got up on the wall there. But it's not in too bad a shape. It's got a little wear here and there. It's old. It's vintage. He told me this. He thinks this is the Irish marquee. Control panel. Not too bad. Somebody swapped one of the cones at one point. And this is what they call the anti-glare kit. Kind of goes back at a different angle. It's supposed to help with the glare. I think it does. This side's about the same as the other side. A little bit of Bondo work somebody did down there at the bottom. But anyway, we're pretty much starting with an empty cabinet right now. We've got to start piecing it all back together. I think the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cap that monitor, though, while I've got it out and can get to it easier. So we're going to cap that. There's not too many caps on it. I think there's like 8 or 10. But the main problem these have is they always have bad solder joints where those connectors plug in. That one. There's a couple more down there on the bottom. And then we're going to recap the high voltage unit over here. And we also got to put a big blue in it too. I think I got to... The customer gave me a big blue for it. I got to put that in there before we get too far, but I still think I'm going to go ahead and start with this monitor. Alright, I got the monitor board out. I wanted to show you this solder joint here that I was complaining I say always happens. See if I can get you a good picture. Where am I? There I am. See that number 1 there? You can actually, it's moving in there. There you go. See that? So number 1 probably isn't making connection anymore. See it moving there? Number 2 is probably barely making connection. Number 3 is okay. But yeah, what I do is I just go ahead and resolder all these. It's always the ones on the end. See, number 10's messed up too, and number 9. Because people mess with that connector, you know, whenever you got to take it off, you pull it one way or the other. But it's always the end pins on the connectors. Let's see if the other ones are probably, no, that one's messed up too. Number 1. Number 9's got a little issue there. Number 8 starting. Let's check the other one. There's the next one down. It's messed up also, number 1. See, number 1 there. Then you go up. And number 1 there. And then you go over, and number 10 there. Number 1 and 2 over here. And that's all of them. So I'm going to go ahead and reflow all the connectors and change the capacitors. And then we'll do the same thing to the high voltage unit. And then we're going to start at the wall on this machine because we don't have much choice. This is the power cord for it. Here's the power switch for it. And we got to put a new big blue. So we're going to start knocking this stuff out, see what we can do. Alright, I've moved on to the high voltage unit. There's only 4 caps in here you got to change. And I got to reflow this connector. It didn't really look that bad. But that's next. Alright, so we got the monitor put back together. We're going to leave it out of the cabinet for now though. Next we're going to move on to the power brick. And we're going to change the big blue capacitor. Check all the fuses. And then we're going to put it back in there. So there's not really much to change in these. All you do is flip it over. Take out these 2 screws. I already took this one out. And in this case, all the oranges are positive. So then you put your new cap in there and just make sure you get all the oranges going to the positive. So if all the oranges go to the positive, where do all the purples go? Yep, that's right. They all go to the negative. Alright, so I got a new power cord on it. It runs in there. I'll tidy it all up later, but see my new capacitor in there. And all I really worry about is the 5-volt. So the power supply has a couple test points on it. The red one's at the 5 and the black one's at the ground. And we have 5.3 volts, which is a little high, but remember, we don't have a board in it yet. So it is going to be a little high because there's no load on it. So I'm just going to leave it right where it's at. And years ago we used to change these capacitors on these power supplies. But we found out over the years that Atari used really good caps. And the ones you buy now just aren't even as good as these are. So anymore we just leave the original caps on the power supply, because they used really good quality capacitors back then. And we're getting our 5 volts just fine, so we're going to leave that alone. So next I'm going to put the board in and set the monitor kind of in the back of it so we can see what happens. Alright, I got the monitor sitting behind it. I got the game board in there. Let's turn it on and see what happens. Looks like I'm getting 5 volts over to my game board. Got something on the monitor. Looks like it's working. We'll have to adjust it, obviously. We need some height and some width, looks like. Hopefully that can adjust out. So I guess I'll try to adjust it, and if I can get it big enough, I'll go ahead and put it back in the cabinet. Alright, I got the monitor back in there, how it goes. I think the next thing I got to do is put the mirror back in, because I think that other arc goes behind the mirror. And I'm not exactly sure if I could just put this mirror in either way, or if it's different on one side. But for those of you that were guessing, he had to pay almost $150 for this mirror. But I'm going to try to put it in there, and hopefully it's the right type. You can't just put any mirror in there. But that's next. Well, I was wrong. I think the art actually has to go in first. So I undid the control panel. And since this has the anti-glare kit, I guess this all has to come off in one piece. I got to take the marquee off. And I guess this bracket all comes off together, because he's got it bolted here. And it's riveted there. So I'm going to take that out, and I'm going to try to staple the artwork back there on the back, and then slide the mirror up between that artwork and this other artwork around the monitor. Well, luckily I could kind of tell where it was stapled before, and Atari notched it around this brace here, so it was real easy to just push it down to there, up, and staple it. So that's where it was originally. So now I'm going to put the mirror in, and hopefully it works how it's supposed to work. So I got the mirror in there. You can see the planets through there, so I guess that's alright. I think something might be going on with the black light though, so I got to take these 2 screws out and make sure he's got the right black light in there. And also my monitor is reversed. I've got it mounted in the cabinet the way it's supposed to go, but the customer told me he thinks this monitor is out of an ASTEROIDS, a regular ASTEROIDS. So I may have, looks like I'm going to have to swap the yoke wires to make it switch around. But I'm not going to worry about that right now. I'm going to mess with the black light, and then we'll move on. So he's got the actual black light in there. I think they work better with one of the white black lights, if that makes sense. They've got this kind of black light, and then they've got another kind of black light that is white. And that's what I put in my other Asteroids Deluxe. So I'm going to swap that and see if it looks any better. So here's the yoke wires. It looks like I'm going to have to swap the black and the yellow for it to work in this cabinet, because we think this is an Asteroids monitor, which didn't have a mirror. But we don't have any idea what monitor this is actually, but I was told it came out of an Asteroids. But either way, I got to swap the black and yellow wire for it to work in this one. Alright, I got the black light swapped. I think it looks a lot better. See, I can see all the little asteroids better. And I got the yoke swapped. Everything's the right way now. I think it's on free play, but his LED is burned out here. Let's see if the 2-player button works. Nope. Well, maybe we can figure that out. Maybe they didn't hook it up right whenever they swapped it. Anyway, let's try 1-player. I don't think you guys can see very well, so I'm going to go ahead and put the bezel back on, and maybe that'll help with the glare. Alright, I got it all finished up. I got a new camera today, and I'm still learning how to use it. So I'm hoping the audio is okay, and the video's pretty good. I was having a problem with our old camera. The focus kept going in and out, and it was driving me crazy. That's about the 3rd one of those that I've bought. So I'm trying a different camera this time. I got a GoPro 11. So I'll see if that does any better. But anyway, I've got it all finished up. I was having a problem with the 2nd player start button and the thrust button. And I was convinced that it was something on the board, because I checked continuity from here all the way back to the board, and from the 2nd player start all the way back to the board. I was convinced that the board was bad because, you know, they acted like it had been repaired, and you know how that goes. Oh, the board's ready to go, blah, 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 blah. Well, actually the board was fine after I done mess with it and changed the chip on it that I thought was bad. That it wasn't bad. I put it all back in. Same thing. And come to find out, you know, that's when the story gets good, when somebody says, come to find out. Somebody had been back there messing with the edge connector, and they had the wires in the wrong spot. So the thrust wire was actually hooked up to the coin door. Same thing with the 2nd player start. It was down on the coin door. So every time I was hitting thrust, it was adding a credit. And every time I was hitting the 2nd player start, it was adding a credit to the other side. So that took quite a while to figure out. I assumed that edge connector was original and everything was where it was supposed to be, but you know what happens when you assume. So I swapped them all around. Now everything's working. The cabinet still needs a little bit more cosmetic stuff, but he doesn't want me to do anything cosmetic. He handles all that himself. But I got everything working. That's all he wanted me to do, basically, was put everything back together where it was supposed to go. Get everything working. I'm not really going to do a gameplay video. I actually just did an Asteroids a few weeks ago. That's why he brought me this one. He saw the video. And decided to bring his down for me to fix too. And I don't really have a good tripod mount for this camera yet. So that's my excuse. I'm not any good at asteroids anyway. But I got everything working. I think you'll be real happy with it. A bunch of you probably have noticed that it's all black and white. That's because it originally was supposed to have a blue gel overlay that kind of laid over the monitor that made it, you know, like a blue color. But it's missing on this one, and I actually kind of like the black and white. But I'll let him decide if he wants to get one of those. And the second player start button, somebody has swapped it at some point. It doesn't light up like the one player start. This is off a different type of game. All the Ataris use these, but some of them lit up and some of them didn't. So somebody swapped that with one that doesn't light up. So he'll have to get another one of those. I don't have one to put in there for him, or I would. But I think it's okay. I think it turned out pretty nice. I like the marquee. It's like a different variation of it. But anyway, that's that. That's pretty much going to do it for this one. Thanks everybody for watching. We appreciate it. And if you got time, like, leave us a comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff. And we got a second channel now called Amateur Repair Time that we're going to be fixing a lot of just random stuff like radios, clocks, guitar amps. We might be working on our truck or something. We're going to just put more random stuff over there. So there won't be any arcade games or pinballs or jukeboxes on that channel. But if you're into random repairs like that, subscribe over there for us if you don't mind. And we'll see you on the next one. All right, I'm not sure how this is going to turn out. Obviously, I'm not any good, but just showing you that everything works. That was a close one. Well, that was awful. Well, look at that. I got the high score. Boy, I'm good. I was getting ready to say I stay in the middle and let them come to me, but Didn't really work out that time. I was a sitting duck. I'm getting worse. Ain't got time for that. I'm blaming it on the tripod. The tripod is right in the way. I should have quit when I was ahead. Game 1. I meant to do that. Almost. That background looks pretty cool, don't it? That black light. Alrighty. Well, that's that.